Hi, this is episode 44 of Crondos. I'm your host, Jordan Hudgens. I'm a Ruby dev and the CTO of the DevCamp platform. On Thursdays, I like to cover news items in the tech sector. And today, I'm going to discuss the concept of if it's possible to lose your coding skills. Today's topic was inspired by the Boing Boing article that tells the story of a QA developer who spent 6 years working for a company and literally did nothing besides play computer games, browse Reddit, and just waste time. The Reddit user Filet-O-Fish1066 posted his story to the site last week and has instantly become a supreme case study for what happens when you don't continue to develop your coding skills. After not working for 6 years, he says that he has completely forgotten how to develop and now he's out of a job. The story goes that he started working as a software tester and realized that by writing some scripts, he could fully automate his job. So he worked for about 8 months building testing scripts, and after that he simply let the test run and he didn't have to do anything besides kick back and play video games all day. There are a number of lessons that developers can learn from this story, and that's what I want to cover today. First, I don't really blame the employee in this case. Apparently, there was such little oversight in his organization that he was able to get away with not working for 6 years. That tells me that the company he worked for has some pretty serious structural problems to let that go on for so long. Next, it should be noted that many organizations are employing people to do work that software can do, but instead are wasting money with archaic manual processes. Third, this developer started his job doing exactly what he should have done. He recognized that there are ways to automate his job, which was a great first step. If he would have went to management and shown what his automated script did, he would have most likely been promoted for his expertise and would have a great career right now. Fourth, and most importantly, it's possible to lose your coding knowledge. If a world-class bodybuilder would stop going to the gym, eventually he'd lose his muscles. In the same way, if you stop honing your craft as a developer, you'll eventually lose your programming skills. I met with a gentleman who was a vice president of software development at a large energy services company a few years ago. He got the position by selling software he had built himself that has become the industry standard and currently processes billions of dollars in transactions each month. Even though this individual used to be at the top of his field as a developer, since he became an executive, he got further and further away from coding, and now he's admitted to me that he wouldn't even be able to build a simple application. I just finished reading the book Peak by Andreas Ericsson and Robert Poole, and he gives some great case studies from the medical field that show that the most experienced general practice doctors are not always the best in their field compared with less experienced physicians. They explain that on average, the longer a general practice doctor has been working, the less they focus on learning, and therefore they start to lose some of their expertise. And it's actually doctors who have just finished fellowships and gone through the extensive training that they perform there that do the very best. I thought it was interesting though because they did note exceptions when it came to specialists. For example, cancer specialists that perform surgeries daily are constantly working on their craft. They perform better than the less experienced surgeons. I thought that was a great example for developers because I know from my own experience that if I'm not daily using my development skills, they will atrophy. There really is no middle ground. When it comes to development, you're either getting better or worse. You won't stay the same. So how can you ensure that you're always improving and that you won't lose your coding skills? Here are a few practical tips that I use. Learn something new about development each day and be intentional with how you learn. For example, from my own work, just yesterday I taught myself how to integrate growl notifications into a Rails application, which was something I hadn't done before, and I never even really had a good idea on where to start it until I started researching it and working on seeing each one of the steps I need to do it, and now I have that knowledge and now I can use it in all of my future applications. If you simply repeat the work you've done in the past, you won't improve. Thinking back to our case study of the general practice doctors, the research showed that the reason why older physicians' skill decreased was because they performed the same work day after day. And eventually, the only tasks they could perform properly were the things that they had repeated each day. To be 100% honest, This part is not very fun at all, which is why so few people do it. Learning new and challenging skills can be intimidating and stressful. In the same Peak book, the authors said that a common trait among all top performers in every field they researched was that they are willing to deliberately practice skills that they found difficult, because it was only by mastering those skills that they were able to grow in their profession. A practical way for developers to implement this method of deliberate practice is to write down a list of features that you've never built into an application before. Then spend time each day until you've successfully built each component into a project. After you're done with that, create another list. I personally have a list that I work and study from each day, and it's helped me to feel confident that I'm learning something new each day and that I'm constantly improving as a coder. On a final side note, I've had multiple people message me about the story from Boing Boing asking how is it possible that the developer created a script for automating his work. Without further details, it's really impossible to know for sure. However, since he was in the testing department, my guess is that he built a test suite using tools such as Capybara to run through the software and generate reports on features. So that would be my guess. I hope that this guide has helped to inspire you to be deliberate with your practice and that you'll continually improve as a developer.